This is going to be a review for the quiz that you're going to have on similar triangles and parallel lines. So I've got, I think, 6 problems that I'm going to work through with you and just let you see them. If you remember, I'm comparing the same side of one triangle to the same side of the other. So I'm going to have 25 on this side, right? And that compares to the 3x plus 5. So let's write that. When I compare, I write as a fraction. That'll be equal to my next comparison. Put the same triangle on top. That makes 10 on top. And same triangle on bottom. Okay. So now I've got a lot of multiplication and stuff that needs to be done. And I have to use cross multiplication to do it. So let's go ahead and start that. Nice big cross multiplication. So I'm definitely going to write it out like this first. Alright. And do my distributive property. 2 times 25 is 50 minus 250. 10 times 3 is 30. That. Go ahead and subtract and add. Minus 30x minus 30x. I like going ahead and doing both so that when I cross out something on both sides of the equal sign, I know I have done it correctly. You don't have to do it that way. That's just the way that I prefer and the way that I write it on the board for you guys. Alright, now all I have to do is divide. You can plug that in the calculator, or if you know it, that's going to be 15. There is example 1. Okay. Example 2 is a lot like example 1, but just a tad different in that now I have 2 variables that I have to solve for, right? So I'm going to go ahead and set up all my equations, and I'm going to start with this side and match it to this side. Okay. If I have 2 equal signs, then I need 2 equations, right? Because I do have 2 variables. So 2 equations, 2 equal signs yields 2 equations. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce this to 3 over 5 because they were both divisible by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to make 2 equations that have the one that has a constant on top and bottom. So 3y. That will also be equal to this other one. Right. So that's what I was talking about. If I have 2 variables and 2 equal signs, I need 2 equations. If I have 1 equal sign, like in this one, I only have 1 equation. So let's go ahead. I'm going to cross multiply on both sides here. 3 times 21 is 63. 3 times 5 is 15. We'll divide that. It's not a pretty number. 4.2. Not too bad. Y equals 4.2. Okay. Do the same thing on this side. 3 times x plus 2. And I always write it out this way, guys. I always want you to do that because it can figure out where you made a mistake. 5 times 10 is 50. Distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. Almost out of room here. So I got 3 on both sides, and I'm going to go and plug that one in the calculator too. And the rest of this was just algebra, right? I subtracted 6 from both sides, and then I divided by 3, and I plugged that in the calculator to find this. If you were going to round this, this would have been 14.7, but I left it as a repeating decimal, which is that mark over the top of it. On to number 3. Okay, so now I have to compare my big triangle to my smaller triangle, right? This is the same type of problem, but now it's written a little differently. My triangles are inside each other. So my smaller triangle on the side has 20, and the bigger triangle on the same side has 40, so I can compare it just like that. And then I'm going to compare the small triangle's bottom part, that is 5x minus 1, to the bigger triangle's bottom. I'm going to go ahead and reduce this 20 over 40, both divided by 20, that gives me 1/2. That's going to make that a lot easier, right? So 2 times 5x minus 1. 1 times this is itself. Distribute. Go ahead and subtract and add. And I made the mistake of making this come out negative. I apologize. Did not check this one before I put it on here. Minus 7x, minus 7x, plus 2, plus 2. Right. And once again, you should never get a negative number, but I made this problem up right before I made the video and did not check to make sure I would not be getting negative numbers. But on all the ones you're doing on quizzes and stuff, you should never come out with a negative answer, guys. The next ones, these are my different types of angles, so I have to decide, is it one of my types of angles that equal each other? The types of angles that equal each other would be alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and my vertical angles. So you've got those all in your notes, so you can go back and look at those if you need to find those. Okay? So those were, again, alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and vertical angles will all equal each other. Anything else is going to add to 180. That includes same side interior. Right? So I just have to look at these and decide which type they are. These are alternate interior. This one's on the right side and it's in between the parallel lines. This one's on the left side and it's in between the parallel lines. These are equal to each other. So I write them just like I said them. They are equal, right? So I'm going to keep it positive. Let's go ahead and subtract 12x from both sides. And add 7 to both sides because that's going to cancel out one thing on each side. 3x equals 26. And then divide both sides by 3. Okay, so once again, that came out to 8.6 because it set them equal. Now the other one, and the reason they're beside each other is because I want to compare them. This one is not one of my special types, right? Alternate exterior to this one would be down here. Alternate exterior to this one would be up here. Corresponding to this one would be right here. Corresponding to this one would be right here. So they're both exterior, they can't be interior or anything, but I know since they're not one of my special types of triangles, they have to add to 180 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And when I do that, I literally do what I said. I add together what I have. So 16x minus 4, 4x minus 6 is equal to 180 degrees. Because these two angles should add together to be supplementary, which means a line or 180 degrees. Combine like terms. We're on the same side of the equal sign, so we do what the signs say, right? These signs say add, so I do that. These signs both say subtract, so when I subtract, I keep them together. I'm going to end up adding them, right? That's like adding two negatives together. Do the opposite. Right? Divide. So once again, the geometry here is just setting up my problems, right? Last problem that we're going to go over, number 6. Just a reminder, these little lines, these little arrows mean that these are parallel, which tells me a couple other things that we're actually going to talk about in a while, and if you want to go ahead and know them. This is a transversal, right? So since these are parallel, wouldn't this and this be corresponding? And wouldn't this and this also be corresponding? Since they are parallel lines and I've got a transversal. Anyway, moving back to what we were doing currently. This is going to be 10 over 40, right? Because I've got that rule that I can take the bottom and compare it to the piece not in between the parallel lines. I can compare it to the piece in between the parallel lines. That will be equal to the same comparison on the other side. So above the parallel lines and in between the parallel lines. Go ahead and reduce that way, because I can always get rid of 2 zeros if I have them, right? That's like dividing by 10. I'm actually just going to rewrite that. Cross multiply. Cross multiply. And then I've got to subtract, right? So minus 3x on this side, minus 3x on this side, equals -2. That does not turn out pretty, but you've got the idea. Divide by 29, divide by 29, and I get x equals a -2 over 29. And like I said, I've made sure that all the ones you have on the quiz are whole numbers, so you should not get anything as ugly as this. I do apologize for that coming out to be that not pretty. But there you go. Good luck on your quiz next class, guys.